Hey y'all, so you already know it's time to discuss Atlanta, child. The delusions continue on a few levels this week, so let's get into it. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content, okay? So first, let's talk about K. Michelle. K. Michelle is a good friend for pulling Shamea aside, but she should have had that conversation with Shamea before she told Porsha how Shamea was different. I didn't like when K. Michelle and Pinky were discussing with Porsha and the rest of the gang how Shamea was different, when they hadn't even said it to Shamea's face yet. But more importantly, they know that those are her ops. So why would you be talking about your friend to her ops, okay? I also feel like Pinky should have been a part of that conversation, considering how she's also supposed to be Shamea's friend and made comments as well that she hadn't said to her yet, okay? Now let's discuss Shamea. Shamea moves weird, right? How is it you don't invite Porsha to Gerald's party over a text message that Porsha allegedly sent talking about your marriage, but somehow you think that Porsha is coming over after what went down in Scotland? And then she speaks about it as if Porsha's response isn't warranted. Girl, also, if Shamea didn't want Porsha at her house for Gerald's party, then why did she go to Porsha's party at the beginning of the season, if you think about it? My other thing with Shamea is that I need her to stop apologizing. You meant what you said, when you said it, how you said it. So you got to stand on it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't make a bold move like that and think that I'm sorry is going to cut it. Okay? I understand Porsha started the mom stuff, but she could have asked Porsha to have a side convo if she really wanted to. Now, granted, it still would have been on national television, but it would have been better than out there in front of the girls. Okay? But more importantly, if she was still mad about last year, then she should have addressed it earlier in the season. This seems to be a thing with Shamea. She tends to wait too long to address something, which makes it feel like a shock when she finally does have something to say. I really need her to move on from Porsha. I mean, you sitting here talking about how you in therapy to navigate this group. I understand we all process things differently, but there's absolutely no way I would give Porsha the benefit of thinking that I care that deeply, especially when she clearly gives 0 Fs, okay? Sometimes we got to have some pride, no matter how bad it hurts. It's just time to move on, boo-boo, okay? At the end of the day, Porsha and Shamea are both full of it to a degree. In the previous episode, Porsha told K. Michelle and the girls that her and Shamea could have made up if she really wanted to have a conversation with her. But we all know that's BS, right? Because Porsha was not checking for her, okay? Porsha was willing to make it with anybody but Shamea, okay? Now, granted, K. Michelle did bring that up in her confessional, but I really wish she would have just said it to Porsha's face at that moment, okay? And let's not forget, during last season, before things got too bad, Shamea did try to have a conversation with Porsha, but Porsha was very dismissive about it, okay? And then I just feel like, instead of Porsha avoiding her all season, why not just be woman enough to just go ahead and tell her flat out that she doesn't want to be friends with Shamea anymore? Porsha may not have started with Shamea this season, but she definitely poked her by ignoring her because she knew it was going to eventually bother Shamea, okay? Not to mention in the previous week, when Porsha purposely stood by Shamea before their dinner and during the dinner made it seem like Phaedra was the best friend ever, making it seem like Shamea never even mattered, okay? I also wonder if she has been getting Drew and Angela to do her dirty work. Notice how extra hard they have been going at her, and no one holds anyone accountable that goes against Shamea. I do think there are some double standards in the group where Shamea is concerned. How is it Shamea gets called out for every little thing? Now, yes, I know what she did with Porsha was egregious, but even outside of that, she gets called out. But when Angela discussed her marriage and discussed the fact that she was cheating, nobody called out Angela about that being wrong. They just let it go. I also didn't like when K. Michelle said what happened in Scotland didn't really change how she felt about Angela, and she at least respects Angela for bringing it to the table. But here's my thing. Okay, Shamea is supposed to be your friend, but somehow you cool with the fact that Angela said in front of the whole group that Shamea is sleeping with this guy named George during her marriage, apparently. Okay, so I don't understand how you cool with that. And that's supposed to be your friend. How does that work? It's one thing to bring things to the table, but not something like that. Kelly was right to point that out, though. How everybody just went mute on Angela, okay? Also, K. Michelle should have called Angela out for her part of the things as well when they met for yoga. Angela's acting like she's innocent when she also ruined the dinner with her nonsense. So the girls are invited to Shamea's Rum Bum lunch party, okay? But before we get into the party, let's discuss the deal for a minute, okay? I think she needs to start leaning on her husband when it comes to business, considering that he's an established entrepreneur. In my own experience, I've seen too many people make moves without having paperwork in order. If you remember the flashback that Bravo showed us, Gerald was asking the company questions before moving forward. At the time, it made it seem like he was trying to delay the process, but in all reality, he was just trying to protect their interests, and she didn't want to see it because she was just in a rush to just get things started, okay? I certainly wouldn't make a 6-figure investment before understanding the terms and structure of the deal, okay? And I'm definitely not promoting it yet. If anything, she probably should have used the show as leverage in order to get a better deal, okay? But instead, she gave them free promotion before securing her stay. The moment you start creating value before the deal is finalized, you give away your part of your negotiating leverage, okay? So now she's at a large party without even knowing where things really going to land. That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. You're hosting a launch party on national television, but you still don't know if you're getting equity or simply buying wholesale, okay? Those are things that should have been finalized before this point. And if yes, I know that there's context that we don't see, but still, say what you want about Porsha, but Porsha is about her business, okay? So back to the party. George and Ashley were at Shamea's party, okay? And of course, they bring up what Angela said in Scotland. Angela is very good at deflecting and turning things around. First, even if she did just ask Ashley if she knew Shamia, the question would be why? Why does it matter if she knows Shamia if you're not really trying to get tea from her, right? Because reality is, like, on the one hand, she's denying that she asked her for tea, but she was so ready to tell the whole group about what George said about sleeping with Shamia, okay? So second, even if George did make this remark at an event, do we really think he meant it in that regard? I mean, how tacky would it have been for him to say in front of a room full of people that he was willing to pay to sleep with her? I mean, really? And then also, Shamia said in her confessional that actually wasn't what George said. She said that Shamia brought her money, so you have to pay her. I actually think they both misheard him, because that, to be honest with you, that didn't really make a lot of sense either. I think there's some things that's out of context there as well. I think what she might have been trying to say is that he was saying you got to pay for services or whatever, but that wording still didn't make a lot of sense either. But either way, though, I think Angela's reaching way too hard to come at Shamia. Like, no, Angela was not vindicated because it was not meant the way she implied it. And frankly, I'm surprised that Ashley didn't go harder at her about it. I mean, I realized it was supposed to be before her time, but still, like, you put her husband's name out there about stuff that ain't even true. But on another note, I'm glad Gerald interrupted that game of shame. Although it was funny that Kelly was talking so much trash, and turns out it's her own butt that she's talking trash about, okay? But, you know what? I'm sorry. Drew getting a horse just feels like the most random thing ever. I might have to side with K. Michelle on this, because how all out the blue, this man stood you up on a date and he makes it up to you by bringing a horse to a party, like, just randomly. I mean, allegedly her friend put it together, but it just seems like it's just too much. So I think that was orchestrated for TV purposes, okay? Well, it looks like things are finally going to come to a head between Kay and Drew next week, at K. Michelle's event. Of course, about the infamous Black, whether she knew him or not, we'll see. But I think deep down, K. Michelle didn't know him. So, but I have to say, though, I cannot wait until the reunion happens, because I just feel like there's a whole lot that's about to come out during that reunion. So this reunion might be one of the ones for the books, I have to say. All right, guys, so I'll catch you guys next time. And don't forget, like and subscribe. Check you later.